The next item is the request for donation from the East Selkirk Hall Malanka event on January 24th. And Malanka is a Ukrainian New Year, and the hall is hoping to celebrate it with as a cultural celebration. Recommendation from the administration is to approve it, and that council donates $500 towards the event. And so I'll bring forward the resolution if there's no further questions on that matter.
Thank you.
So be it resolved that council authorize a $500 donation to the East Selkirk Hall's Malanka event taking place on January 24th, 2026.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Bazarowicz seconds. Any discussion? Councillor Spicer, did you have a question, or were you putting your hand up to second? Okay.
Yes, please.
All right. Okay, have a mover, have a seconder. If there's no further questions, all in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, Beausejour Broken Hill Minor Hockey Association.
So another one, Madam Mayor, this is the first time we've received this request, and this is a request from the Beausejour Broken Hill Minor Hockey Association for a sponsorship contribution, and they do offer several sponsorship opportunities, and we're recommending the bronze level for council that provides an opportunity to be recognized, but since this is the first time we're recommending that level. And so for this, we've got a resolution being resolved that council approves the sponsorship contribution of $100 to the Beausejour Broken Head Minor Hockey Association for the 2026 U9 Tournament of Champions being held February 13th and 15th, 2026 in Beausejour.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it doesn't say nothing about ages or who's in this, because it's a tournament, I would assume that some of our kids are in it.
Could very well be, but I would hazard a
But for
guess to
$100,
say,
I got no problem with it.
well, I would hazard a guess to say that they're the little guys for the U9. I guess
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Correct.
Yeah, so. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Have a mover, have a seconder. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
So the next is the parish of St. Peter's Dynaver, sorry.
It's okay.
And they have made a request that they would like a letter of support for their request for the ground up application to do some major upgrades and work towards St. Peter's. What they're looking for is they want to be able to go for the, they're looking at an accessibility app, and what they're looking to do is update the cemetery, which is a National Historic Site, or a Manitoba Historic Site.
Okay, any questions on this one? Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
I myself think it's a really good idea. You know, it's going to be a virtual. A lot of people can't walk around the graveyards, and it's a great idea. It's a virtual
Tour, yeah.
I would like to, when it does happen, I'd like to be able to, you know, I've gone to the graveyard many times that you start looking at different graves, but you don't walk up and down. So I think it'd be beneficial to everybody. So I like the idea.
Yeah.
So if you like, I can read the resolution. Be it resolved, council authorize the issuance of a letter of support for the parish of St. Peter's Dynaver in support of St. Peter's Dynaver Cemetery Project, Digital St. Peter's Dynaver app initiative as part of their application to the Manitoba Accessibility Fund, Manitoba Accessibility Grant Program. And be it further resolved, the Recreation Manager, Brenda Collins, be hereby authorized to sign the letter of support on behalf of the Army St. Clements and provide and forward it to the applicant's program as required.
Okay. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor, and The next item on the agenda is Red River North Trails Association. What they're looking for is support for upgrades to the existing trail system that they are looking to do an upgrades on, and putting forward grant applications with the province of Manitoba. And with that, that would come into a commitment of $15,000 for this year's budget in support of the trails. My understanding is that we do have a trails budget in our budget from last year, and will be brought forward the same as this year, so there's enough money to be able to cover this. And what this does is they're able to now maximize our budget with funding from the trails and complete some of these other trails that have been outstanding for placing gravel. And Mr. Lester has made sure that he's also taken into some donations for gravel to help with this. So there's 3 different trails that it's been identified in here, and you'll see that we're also giving them a letter of support.
Okay, questions? I guess I have. Is this just to upgrade the trails that we have, or are they looking at another trail?
That's the way I read it.
It's upgrade the existing ones we have that need to be maintained.
Maintenance.
Okay, well, I guess I'm curious to know what's happening, what Dan is doing with the stretch of the rail bed from Church Road to the train bridge through East Selkirk here, because he was going to work with Seymour to extend that trail, so there's a continuous trail there.
I think he'll be continuing to work on that.
Okay.
But this application is specifically for existing trails.
Okay.
And I think Councillor Spicer has a
Yes, I
question.
think he had his hand up. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Okay, I had 3 questions and the mayor's asked one of them, so that's good. Just further to the second question that she asked was, so this trail is the trail by the river down on the hydro property by the picture I'm looking at.
Correct.
Okay, so that trail has been made, it just hasn't been gravelled? Is that where, like all of it hasn't been gravelled?
That's my understanding, that not all of it has been gravelled, and this will help to complete that, and it's part of his regular maintenance. Some parts are inaccessible and are dirt, and that will be gravelled. As you can see, there
Okay.
are in blue and some in purple.
Yeah. My third question then is he's asking for 15,000 specifically here. Does that mean that the expectation is that our budget number would be 20,000? Because we normally put $5,000 in the budget for trail maintenance.
Good question. I would think that it would go to 20,000, and we'll have that
Okay.
discussion in the budget process.
Yeah, no, I was trying to get it clear in my mind. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, I have a question. If you could scroll down, I want to look at the map that has the blue and purple or whatever it is. Okay, I see that the trail there goes right along the river, quite a ways north. I have had a couple of phone calls about vehicles ripping up and down that trail along the river. And I guess my question
It's
is,
fisherman access. That's what they're looking at.
well, I don't know if it's fisherman access or people going to have a party, because it seems that, you know, it is on the weekend a lot of times that I get these calls. I think if we are going to maintain that trail, we also have to make sure that it's used for what the purpose is, not for,
We should sign it better or some more.
well, something needs to be done, because like I say, I've had a couple of calls, and spring is around the corner, and we don't need, as a municipality, people going down there and partying and ruining the trail that's supposed to be a walking trail for everyone.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What I'll do is I'll have a talk with Mr. Lester and see what other opportunities can be done to be able to fix that as we move forward.
Okay.
Signage.
Perfect. Yeah.
Signage,
Just start.
some rocks to block off some areas and so forth.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so if you wanna bring that resolution forward, I don't know that we did.
Yes, I'll bring the resolution forward. So whereas Red River Trails remains incomplete with approximately 3 kilometers of trail requiring brushing and gravel surfacing to make it fully accessible and consistent with the previously improved section, and whereas Red River North Trails Association has offered to apply for multiple grants, including through Trails Manitoba and from the Grounds Up grant to assist with the cost of gravel supply and spreading of this section of trail, and whereas a letter of support of the Trails Manitoba grant was required and duly submitted on behalf of the Rome municipality with the signature of the Chief Administrative Officer, and whereas the Rome municipality recognizes the importance of completing this 3-kilometer section of the Red River Trail to enhance active transportation, recreation opportunities, and accessibility for all residents, and whereas the costs associated with the proposed municipal contributions and brush cutting can be accommodated within the current trails maintenance budget without exceeding approved expenditures. Therefore, be it resolved that council of the Rome municipality provide a letter of support to the Red River North Trails Association for its ground up grant application, and further be it resolved that council approve a financial commitment of $50,000 towards the supply and spreading of the gravel for the remaining section of the Red River Trail, and authorize the municipal staff to complete the necessary brush cutting along with the unimproved portion of the trail. And further be it resolved that the improvements be coordinated in partnership with the Red River North Trails Association and carried out within the 2026 Trails Maintenance budget.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland is seconding. Question?
Yeah, I didn't know that our municipal staff has to be involved in brushing out that trail. I didn't think,
We had that guy last year that Lange got, that,
That's who would be using
that
this.
brusher on the front of the bucket.
but, yeah, but that, I didn't think that was our municipal staff and equipment doing it. I remember that, yeah, it was a private contractor, I think, it says our municipal.
An
Yeah.
authorized
I
municipal
don't
staff.
believe that they got enough stuff to do it, starting on the trail.
No, you're right. We could certainly take that out as part of the resolution that council wishes and say that spreading of the gravel and remaining section of the Red River Trail and authorize, we don't need to talk any further than that because that's just brush cutting and in unimproved portion of the trail, we can utilize whatever method we use.
Well, see, and I guess I'm looking at it now again too, and it's unimproved portion of the trail. Is there any trail there already?
This is a new piece, 3 kilometers, it says a new, 3-kilometer section.
That was originally identified, yes.
Okay,
And so we could leave that in there as municipal staff with a clear understanding that this would not be public works. It authorizes Brendan to work on it.
That's fine. I just didn't want our
Yeah.
municipal.
I'll make sure public works will not be doing it.
okay, so I believe we have a mover and a seconder, and if there's nothing further, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Next item, we have to respond to this by today, to the arm of West St. Paul. As you know, there's an election occurring, and the arm of West St. Paul, who has offered this program in the past as well, are looking to see if we want to participate where we would get together multiple municipalities and then have training on governance and decision making and community engagement. The information I shared with you council members are coming in, and so we're recommending approval to go forward with this.
Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Is this like the George Cuff?
It'll be similar to the George
Similar,
Cup.
yeah.
Not won't be, not that I.
It might be.
It could be. Don't know
Yeah.
what they've planned.
Okay.
There's a few different ones out there, there's Cheryl, there's George, there's Ernie,
Yeah.
they're all doing the same thing. I support this 100%, especially for new people coming in, a lot of them don't have a clue.
Well, and I think that's where everyone, all municipalities have to work a little bit harder to educate those that are running for council seats.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So. Okay,
So we could reply back saying we are interested.
yeah,
You could just bring it as we brought it as information for council, we don't
Should
have a
become more
resolution for it.
fact, I think.
Isn't there something for counselors that aren't gonna run like a decompression thing?
There is, but it's at the local tavern.
We can do that.
That's a retirement party, isn't it?
Too funny. So the next item is the ward boundary review, and I believe that our CAO would like to speak to that one.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
No problem.
October 22nd is the municipal election, and we're required to make a decision that we are going to retain the same ward boundaries or modify the ward boundaries at least 180 days before the next general election. So I brought forward a resolution to put forward a request by using our senior elections officer, Sue, who was doing the work last year, and then we'll do it again. But this time, or last election, sorry, this time what we're looking at is to see if the ward boundaries need to be adjusted because of the growth that's occurred within both wards. And so she'll be doing a review of that, and I just wanted to make sure council, because it's a requirement of council to at least do it once in before the next election.
So you're gonna put in 2 more lines, is that what we're talking about?
2 more lines? To create 2 more wards?
Well, at least 1.
I can,
I don't think it's large enough to change wards at this point. I think it's maybe an adjustment of the ward boundaries to make them equal in population.
yeah, no, we're mentioning that, and it's really not that important to me, I guess, but like, up until a few years ago, was under the understanding that at 44, you know, that was the boundary, but, the development that it may go on there, like at 44, and you know, on the north side of 44, that is part of Ward 1.
Yes, and it might be that the ward boundary may need to be changed. Depends on if Ward 2 or Ward 1 or which one is increasing to keep the population to equal levels. It
Okay.
might change it to a different street as opposed to 44.
Yeah,
And
it's
so,
just,
then you follow the regulations associated with creating the ward boundaries, which is, you know, some of it is how easily can you divide them up, and then what are some of the natural barriers that you can use? You know, creeks, rivers, highways, roads. And so we'll take a look at that, and it'll be dependent on taking a look at the elections list and that we need to do.
like I could see it, but I thought it was just a natural split 44, north and south, but,
It is a natural split, but if the populations are
yeah.
considerably different between the two, then we have to change it.
Okay. Hi, Tyler. I went to see Patsy last week.
Okay, so,
So we'd be coming back with a report, so I have a resolution to move forward on this, if there's no further questions. And what we're recommending is resolved that the senior elections officer undertake a ward boundary study and prepare a report for council. So once that report comes in, council will have a better idea what's happening.
okay, moved by Councillor Bazarowicz, second by Councillor Spicer. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Okay. The next item is the weed bills. These are bills that were charged to us, or that we use the weed board in order to do the controlling of the weeds or cutting of the grass and so forth. And they were charged out to the individual property owners, and the ones that haven't been paid under the municipal act, we are allowed to put those on their taxes, and that's what we're recommending for a total of about $4,710.01. There are several invoices. The invoices are listed for council's review, and we are recommending that council approve the transfer of these outstanding debts to the 2026 tax rolls to ensure that the municipality recovers the costs incurred by the Selkirk Weed Control Board.
Okay, any questions?
whereas the Selkirk Weed Control Board annually administers a weed control program and changes the property owner for the cost of controlling weeds, and whereas there are amounts from which were due in 2025 and have to date not been collected, therefore be it resolved that as per a letter received on January 7th, 2026 from the Selkirk Weed Board, $4,710.01 be added to the taxes for outstanding weed bills as per section 252 collection of fees for of the municipal act. The list of roll numbers has been provided in the resolution.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland, seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, the next item is, page here, bylaw enforcement contract renewal, and I'm assuming that is why Tyler has joined us. So
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Come on up, Tyler, and you can speak to it, and I'll bring up the administrative report.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
good morning, Tyler.
Okay, so, in January 2024, we have renewed two separate contracts, one being our weekend enforcement, which is geared towards on summer and enforcement up north and the surrounding areas, and we also have a yearly animal control contract. Both of those contracts are expired and are up for renewal. With that said, I have went back and forth with Prairie Bylaw Enforcement regarding both of the contracts, and PBLE agreed to hold both contracts at the rates of 2025. So when we went through the negotiation process back in 2024, we negotiated the rates, held the rate in 2025, and now they're going to hold it for us for 2026. Both contracts are also for 1-year terms, with the option to renew after.
Okay, questions? I guess the animal control one, that is just on an as-needed basis, correct?
Correct, it's a monthly bill, monthly charge for whatever call volume comes in or wherever I send the animal control officer.
Okay. And if there's one call, we still pay the same amount, and if there's 20 calls, it's the same
Correct.
amount?
Yeah, correct.
Just for clarification.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? Are we ready to move this forward? I'm not hearing nays,
Yeah.
so I guess you can bring the resolution forward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just hang on 1 second. I'm going to share my agenda again. Councilor Spicer. Okay, there we go. And for bylaw renewal, be it resolved that council accepts the recommendations of manager to consider authorizing the chief municipal officer to enter into agreement with Prairie Bylaw Enforcement for the extension of the summer enforcement contract and the renewal of the animal control services contract for 1-year term.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, the next item is the semi-and dump trailer purchase. And I think this was just added. I think, is that, if I remember correctly, PW found a truck that they were interested in, so go ahead, Deepak.
thank you, yes. As part of our budget, the Public Works was approved for $40,000 to be able to go out and buy a used dump trailer for various public work purposes, including gravel distribution. And Public Works has been looking, and they've looked at several different ones. We've also looked at possibly even trying to acquire them over through the various auctions when they were occurring. And just recently, they have found one that is within budget, considerably less, at $30,000, that meets their needs, which is an end dump trailer. And they've also found a couple of others, and depending on the opportunity, they want to be able to move on it and keep the costs low. The issue always is whenever you're acquiring used, they require a deposit immediately, and we need authorization from council to be able to expend the funds. So they have found something that we should be able to move, and then we can bring back information related to what we've been able to purchase. So what we're saying is Public Works be authorized for up to $30,000 to purchase a used semi-end dump trailer, and give the authorization to the CIO so that I can then put a deposit and then maybe acquire it as quickly as possible. Usually there's quite a quick bidding process on those. They have found one, and one's on Kijiji, and a couple of others are on auctions.
Okay, questions from council? Go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
Yeah, I kind of would have preferred that they, but that's Kevin's choice, I guess, you know, they figured they need a belly dump sooner than or an end dump over a belly dump. Like, I thought we would have gotten a lot more use of a belly dump, because then we can spot gravel. An end dump, well, you can gravel with it, that's all they used to use before, but you have to have an experienced driver. On that note, even if they're hauling mud or anything, you've got to make sure that you've got somebody that knows what they're doing. Because if you're not level, it doesn't take much for it to go over. Trust me, I know. Hasn't happened to me, but it's so.
Soft shoulders.
Yeah, you've got to be thinking what you're doing, not thinking about something else when you're dumping. If it's a load of mud or gravel or anything. But having said that, like if they feel that they could use an end dump over a belly dump, that's fine. But I'd like to see a belly dump myself. But I'm okay with this, so just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Well, looks like we can bring this forward then.
So be it resolved that council accept the recommendations of the Director of Public Works authorizing CAO to purchase a used semi-end dump trailer for up to $30,000 plus applicable taxes.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, we are moving on to our accounts. First item is the closed list of accounts for the period ending today.
So resolved, council approve the January 13th, 2026 list of accounts, check numbers 25001580 to 26000031. Or sorry, 26000031 in the amount of $4,031,460.66 for payment.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second. Councillor Bazarowicz. Any questions or comments on the list of accounts? Hearing and seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Madam Mayor, the next item is the administrative comments related with the START program. So the START program is requesting for $3,500 for their annual support for the municipal grant program. And as last year, we have given them $3,500 last year, and we're recommending the same for this year.
Okay.
So I have the resolution, resolve council approve the following 2026 request, START program, $3,500.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The next item on the agenda is the STARS program. And again, requesting for their annual grant, and STARS annual grant is been requested, and as last year, they are requesting for an increase or go with the previous amount. They have, as requested previously, they'd like to go to a per capita. We are recommending to stay the same program as last year, and for that, we are recommending a total grant of, if council wishes, you can look at per capita, but I would recommend sticking with the same grant program as we did last year.
Okay, any questions or comments? If not, I will ask that the resolution to be brought forward, please.
So resolve council approve the operating grant in 2026 fiscal year as follows. STARS, $6,000.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried.
Next is the Lockport Development Corporation, Madam Mayor.
No,
And this is,
no.
oh, sorry, East Beaches
East
Social
Beaches,
Scene.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And so the next item is the East Beaches Social Scene, and what they are requesting is a grant for a total of $5,000, but the administration is recommending a total grant of $3,500, which is $2,500 for the social scene, $1,000 for the event sponsoring, and $1,500 for the various capital projects.
Okay, questions?
Yeah, what
Comments?
is-
Go ahead.
What exactly is social scene? What do they do? What do they divide this or they spend it?
Well, I think some of the money goes to their driver program.
Correct.
Driver being,
If you have an appointment and you have no way to get there, they will
Okay,
come and pick you
transport,
up,
yeah.
transport. I'm not sure what else that they provide, but I know they do provide activities also. So there again, it could be transport from home to, say, the Grand Marais Rec Center for some sort of an activity if you are kind of homebound.
I think they extended the parameters actually.
Yes, I think they come all the
Last
way to
year.
Pat Beach now, I think.
Yeah.
Or very close,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
Scott's got his hand up.
Yeah,
Go
sorry,
ahead,
I think
Councillor
I made
Spicer.
an error on that point, but go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
You're muted.
So I guess I had a few questions on this one too, like it's, you know, when you look at their request, it talks about the number of programs and events and that kind of stuff, and but it doesn't really tell us how many of our residents are actually using any of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of hesitant on this, and you know, I'm not sure the driver program is in here. I thought that was a different program because we've already given them $2,000. So I think I'd like more information, and I think the other question we want to ask is, have they asked Alexander for funding, and how much have they asked them for?
Okay. Good questions, Councillor. So might I suggest that we lay this over till the January 27th meeting, and I'll make sure that we get the necessary information before council makes a resolution.
Perfect. Okay, so then the next one is the Lockport Community Development Corporation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is for the Lockport Ice Village and Entertainment. That occurs on a yearly basis now, and they've been receiving similar support from St. Andrews and us, and this is a sort of a joint community activity, and has been quite a success in the RM, as well as in the Lockport Village area where the Ice Village has been established. As you know, they've come and made several presentations to us. They've laid out their request, and as you can see, they're recommending the exact same amount from both municipalities, St. Clements and St. Andrews, of $3,500.
Okay, questions, comments? Go ahead, Scott.
I just wanted to say I went over the bridge on Saturday and it's busy down there.
Very busy. My husband was down there on Saturday and said the same thing, that there's lots of people and,
Crazy.
yeah, it's very, very busy
But
down
they
there.
haven't started the village yet, but there's a lot of people down there.
I thought they said the village was started.
Didn't look like it. There was no,
Arch or anything?
Arch.
Yeah, I think the spots are maybe cleared out in the road, part of the
it didn't
road.
look like it.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't been over the bridge, so. Scott, what did you see? Did it look like the village was started?
I don't know if it is. I just took a look over and
Wasn't.
there's just a lot of people down there.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, so we have the resolution, resolve council approve the following 2026 grant request, Lockport Community Development Group, 2026 Lockport Ice Village Entertainment, $3,500.
can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Sutherland seconds, all in favor, opposed, carried.
The next is the Boreal Shores Art Tour, which they've made requests to us in the past. Last year this year they're requesting for $1,000. Last year we gave them $750, and what we are recommending is $750 again this year.
Okay,
So, resolve council approve the following 2026 grant request, Boreal Shores Art Tour 2026, $750.
can I have a mover, please? Councillor Sutherland, Councillor Spicer seconds, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, call the question, all in favor, opposed, carried.
And last, Madam Mayor, is the East Beaches Development Corporation, which holds the Family Fishing Derby that happens in Grand Marais on a regular basis. They have requested for $2,500 plus the cost of 2 porta potties. And last year we awarded $2,000 plus, which was $775.95 for the 2 porta potties. And so we feel that that is within the reasonable amount, and what we're recommending is the same as last year of $2,000 plus the cost of the 2 porta potties to be installed as part of the process.
Okay, any questions, comments? We'll bring the resolution forward then.
Resolve the East Beaches Development Corporation be authorized to utilize the municipal land to build a ramp access to Lake Winnipeg, which is to be placed on municipal land only, and to hold its annual fishing derby with the condition Eastern Beaches Development Corporation apply for all required permits from all government agencies. Further be it resolved that the administration be authorized to add the Eastern Beaches Development Corporation Fishing Derby to our 2026 municipal insurance, and further be it resolved that council approve the following 2026 requested grant, which is Eastern Beaches Development Corporation $2,000. And be it further resolved, administration be authorized to order and place 2 rental portable toilets to be placed at the lake access ramp located in Grand Marais Boulevard south of Thorncliffe Avenue for the day of the event. And further be it resolved, the Eastern Beaches Development recognizes the contribution from the Arm of St. Clements on its advertising of the event, as well as on the day of the event. And further be it resolved, Eastern Beaches Development Corporation provide the Arm of St. Clements a financial report following the event.
Thank you for that. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, second, please. Councillor Sutherland, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, so that takes us to bylaws, and we don't have any today, so communications for information. Is there anything there that we need to bring forward? I see there's some reassessment dates, I guess that's from the province.
Yes, so the province is going to be having, thank you Madam Mayor, which is the tax impact date on May 12th at 9:30 a.m., which they will have meet the assessor and as well, so there will be a tax impact date, which, as well as meet the assessor, which will be an open house on June 16th. And it'll be a combined open house for basically the city of Selkirk and the Arm of St. Andrews. And it'll be at the East Selkirk Recreation Center. Councillor Spicer.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
So for clarity, that means that that's a reassessment year, right?
Correct.
So we're back on the 2-year cycles.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that May 12th date, I guess they'll be presenting to us on May the 12th at 9:30?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else under the communications for info? I'm not really seeing anything there other than we have the RRPD public hearing notice. And that is for the hearing that's coming up next week
Correct. That's the Red River Planning District.
at Red River Planning, that's correct. Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else under info correspondence that needs to be touched upon, we can move on to council reports. And Scott, I'm gonna let you go first, seeing as you're zooming in.
Seeing as I'm not ready.
That works too.
Okay, it wasn't that far away. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So since the last meeting, December the 10th, we had a Red River Planning District meeting, and that was about human resources. So that's in camera typically. December the 16th, we had a meeting with the Broken Head First Nation. Discussed a number of topics. I think it was a good meeting. It's been a while and maybe even a bit of a challenge to try and sit down with those folks, but I'm sure glad we got a chance to. December 17th was the RRPD regular meeting. Not a whole lot there other than normal operations. December the 18th, we had a library meeting, and that was a regular meeting also. I guess I'm on the building committee. We put a council representative from each of the, I guess, the 3 owners, as well as Donater on there, which I think is a good idea because we all have an interest in it. I'll have a little bit more for you in camera because there's some preliminary discussions there. December the 22nd, we had an infrastructure meeting at East St. Paul. Once again, those are very preliminary discussions. I think maybe if the CAO wants to give us some information on that meeting. Then January the 7th, we met with the province of Manitoba and the WMR for discussion on regional collaborations. January the 10th, I had a Gaynor Library Building Committee meeting. We're gonna try and meet every couple of weeks. But I guess the big news here is if, you know, the CAO was talking about sunshine and rainbows earlier. If we started this out with the expansion of looking at sunshine and rainbows, we needed about $2.7 million to accomplish everything we wanted to do. That's what our estimate was. So between the municipalities funding their portion and fundraising, as of that date, we were $17,400 short. So fundraising for that project has been very successful. And then we had a Red River Planning District strategic planning meeting yesterday. And we approved the new strategic plan, as well as we're looking at, as you guys know, we lost our planning manager at RRPD. So we're looking at putting out an RFP for zoning, doing the rezoning bylaw review. You know, as our zoning bylaws needed review for quite a while. So this is kind of the work that our previous planning manager was spearheading. And we've also decided, we've given authority to the executive director to hire a new planning manager. So that process has begun. So if there's any questions, I can try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Spicer? Okay, I'm gonna head over to Councillor Bazarowicz. Go ahead.
December 16th, the meeting with the First Nations here. It's quite an interesting meeting. I wasn't sure what they're gonna ask for, or what they're looking for, but I'm glad we had the meeting. We've got some understanding now, and hopefully we can continue the relationship. Municipal Christmas party, everybody was there. It was a huge success. And WMR meeting on January 7th. And that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you. December 9th, we had a tour of the St. Clements Community Center. Looks very nice. Looks like it's all ready to go. December 16th, as was mentioned, you know, we had a meeting with Broken Head First Nation. One of the topics was them taking over Anishinaabe Way, and I think we'll try and make that happen. A little bit, few details, I guess, to iron out and what our responsibility is, what we have to put into it, but yeah, finally we had a meeting with them. It's about time, through no fault of our own. But January 7th, you have the province and the WMR meeting, and they, as they stated, they pushed the reset button and they're going to have another draft by March. Going to make a few changes, which they, I guess, they had to, all the backlash they were getting from different municipalities and the initial plan. So we'll see what happens in the final draft in March. And on January 8th, an ARM meeting in Rockwood. The speakers were Carrie Ems, the deputy warden from the Stony Mountain Institute, Correctional Institute, and Shannon Ploman, she's in, her job is intervention. I had trouble hearing what they were saying, but it was interesting what I heard, you know. Debbie might have a little more to speak on about that. And we also have reports from St. Andrews and St. Francis Xavier. And as was said, Debbie will do her report at the next meeting. She's been told no, because she didn't report it that way, she has to report twice.
Twice, yeah, exactly.
And that's it, thank you.
Thanks for that, Dave. Okay, I'll just quickly go over mine. I guess I have some of the same ones. December the 11th, I had a WMR meeting. And the 13th, Glenn had mentioned about our annual Christmas celebration, and it was very nice. I just wanted to comment that this is also the time when we give out our annual service awards, because I don't want, you know, like people think it's like it is a Christmas gathering, but we also give out the awards. And the other thing is we do have the silent auction with any monies collected being distributed to the 2 organizations who provide Christmas hampers to those in need. So, you know, anybody who purchases tickets, that's where your money is going. December the 15th, I had a John Q Executive Committee meeting, and I'll comment on that one a little more in camera. And the gentlemen have talked about the meeting with the Broken Head Ojibwe Nation. I thought it was a very good meeting, and as we said, they're looking to get some services from us, and they want to discuss the roads and the drainage. They have some concerns with the landfill, so I think we'll be having more meetings with them. December the 17th, I had a John Q board meeting. December the 17th, also the regular RRPD meeting, and Councillor Spicer mentioned about that one. January the 7th, we had our CPR WMR info meeting, and on January the 8th, we did have the R meeting in Rockwood. I was very impressed with the new facility at Okamic Marsh. I hadn't been there, and I wish it would have been daylight so we could see, because you were up on the 2nd level, so apparently the view from there is very, very nice, but we couldn't see anything because it was dark. They also, which I didn't know, they have their own catering staff, and they are open year-round for guests and visitors. So very, very nice. The meal was actually very nice, and like I say, they have their own kitchen staff there now. They have a chef, and everything is there.
So,
Go ahead.
is that by reservation, or are they open
No, I
for
think you can just.
daily?
Daily, yeah. I talked to Jacques Bourgeois, that used to be on Interlake Tourism. He's running the Okamic Marsh now.
Okay.
And he said, because I did ask him, like, how often are you open? And he said, we're open every day. There's only 3 days in the year that they're not open. So, yeah, so I thought that was pretty good too. And the guest that Councillor Sutherland spoke about were from Stony Mountain Pen, and they provided information on housing, activities, rehabilitation, some rehabilitation for the people that are in there. So it was actually very interesting. And then yesterday, as Councillor Spicer said, we had a RRPD special meeting, and we adopted the strategic plan for the next 5 years. And we also discussed some other items in camera that needed attention, so I will just leave it at that, and that's all I have. Deepak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My meetings have been similar to what Councilor suggested with Broken Head, WMR / John Q Public, and so I've attended those meetings, and I think the updates have been there, and I provide my more written update at the end of the month.
Okay. Heather, do you have anything you would like to share with us today?
No, I don't, thank you.
Okay, so with that, where we are, We will move in camera.
Resolve that council
Oh,
recess.
Wait a minute,
Yeah, we have to have quorum.
yeah.
We'll pause for a minute
We'll
while.
pause for a minute and Councillor Sutherland has stepped out for a minute, so when he gets back, we will go in camera because there are a few things that we need to discuss in camera.
So that, okay,